What inspired or drove you to develop the discipline and self-awareness that you have today?
Wow, that's a huge question. I think it was the experience of, the suffering, just the suffering.
What were you struggling with?
I just didn't feel like in my 20s, there was this longer period of my life where I just didn't really feel alive. I felt like waking up without purpose, and then I did what I felt I had to do, but only the most minimal thing, to get by. And and then I was just busy with distracting myself, watching porn and playing video games, and it didn't feel like I was in control of my life or living it on purpose or on my own purpose, but more of like it just like felt like a big bad cosmic joke. Like life felt like a punishment. And it was just bad enough to that I had to do something about it.
What took you there?
It was I think the sparks came from voices from the internet. So I was, I mean, back then I was working as an artist, so I was still in touch with my creativity, and I was trying to make music. And so, um, I forgot what his name was. It was Il Gates. His name was Il Gates. He's a music producer, and he's been doing this podcast about like how you could basically become productive as a music producer. Because if you're only creative, you never finish any tracks. You're just, creating loops and then you listen to the loops and you get high and listen to more loops. It's like you're not gonna get anything done. And I felt like I had this like deep inside me, I had this desire to finish something, to achieve something. And so this guy spoke to me with his content. And from there somehow I got like he mentioned voices, authors, podcasters, whatever, influencers from outside of the purely creative space. Um, and I think that got me started to listen to some stuff and read some books, and yeah, it opened up this whole world of possibility that I didn't wasn't aware of that it existed.
But what took you to reach that bottom point? Did you have a rough upbringing? Did you have a group of friends that were doing the same thing as you? Like, what what made it so hard?
Yeah, I think my parents uh, had it even harder than myself. So there's some history of abuse in my family, and I don't want to go into details because it's their life,
Yeah, there's no need to do that.
all right? But they've been damaged in their way, and so they were only able to show up as well as they did, right?
Yeah,
So
you seem like you have a really healthy perspective on that because some people harbor resentment and anger. You seem like you've been able to forgive and to move on, accept.
yes, 100%. So there was definitely that resentment. I mean, the if we talk about the period that I've talked about earlier, where I described how I felt in this period in my 20s. At that point, there was still a lot of resentment, especially towards my father, who never abused me, but he was just not able to show up as emotionally stable as I would have needed it, maybe. And so I was still very angry that that wasn't. happening, and that led to all the emotional instability in my life. But then I discovered, like you just said, it's not, this resentment is not helping. The more I go into this resentment, the more I feed the negativity of it all. And so I actively started working on forgiving, and this has solved a lot. Yeah.
So, how did you notice that resentment wasn't helping? Were you aware enough
I
to
think I was
notice
just
the thought loop going around, the rumination of thoughts and stuff like that?
I think I was just told, I couldn't tell you where specifically I read about it, but if you look into all the religious writings and all the modern spiritual writings, it's just a common theme
Yeah.
that you have to let go. And I was depressed enough to give it a try to practice that. And yeah, I remember when I started my meditation practice, um, after a couple of weeks, I was already able to feel a difference. And I'm just very happy that I went through this couple of weeks without giving up, because I don't know if maybe I could have given up after a week or something. But thank God I didn't. Yeah.
Thank God you didn't. Yeah. Are you? Do you believe in God?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
How do you and how do you see God? Do you see it as an entity? Do you see it as energy? Do you see it as a person? Is it a
No,
religious God?
I see it as the ground of everything, as the origin of everything.
Like like consciousness, like universal intelligence, sort of.
Yes. Yeah, I think that
Same.
everything we experience and we ourselves are manifest, so our bodies are, and everything we experience is, and the emotions and the thoughts, it's all manifestations of this one source.
Hmm. Interesting. That's how I see it as well. Do you read Eckhart Tolle?
Oh yeah, I did.
Cool. Yeah, that's those are great books. I love those. When you were in the process, like you reach rock bottom, you realize, okay, there must be a better way. So you start finding ways in which you can climb out of whatever hole that you dug yourself. Did you have a support system around you in that time? Did you have somebody to talk to in the form of friends and family, or was it just purely your focus and your determination and your desire for a better life that got you out of there?
Yeah, it was pretty much the latter one. It was basically, I mean, there was a social life, but I didn't really have connections where I could talk about this deeply. So I think this was also a reason why it took me then such a long time to make real progress, because I was doing it so much on my own. It was it was always something that I found really sad and strange, that in my circle I couldn't have deep, vulnerable conversations. But this was not, it's also been partly my fault, because I was also not ready to really be vulnerable, you know. And later I discovered, once I found the courage myself to really be vulnerable and just accept nothing else but truthful, vulnerable conversations, that was when all of a sudden the people that were also ready for that appeared in my life, and I started to attract them.
How did they start appearing?
I think I started looking actively for it. So I forced myself to start conversations in public, just talk to strangers.
Really?
I yeah, I I forced myself to go to events where I don't know anyone. So I was just looking online. I live in Berlin since 2018, so there's a lot going on. It's a very vibrant city. So I was just starting to look online. What events are there? Where could those people be that I want to meet? And I just started to go to these events, and kind of force myself to overcome my social anxieties because yeah, I was really scared of talking to people. Um, I was very good at hiding that. And people were actually describing me as an extrovert, which is really ironic because deep inside I was really scared and yeah.
So the way to courage is through fear.
Yeah, I think so. I think fear is like a it's like a guidepost that is like a compass that shows you where you should go next. And then it's like an invitation to develop courage. Whenever you have fear, it's an invitation to develop courage. And the more you do it, the more you start to become aligned with your deeper self and with your full potential.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to talk to you about because that's something that I've noticed more and more that I have subconsciously, maybe unconsciously avoided. And that's the act of numbing uncomfortable emotions like boredom, like food cravings, like scrolling social media, or just unconsciously just grabbing my phone in the moment. Like what's that impulse, like where does it arise? And I'm curious to dive deeper into that with you when it comes to feeling that emotion and to sort of become aware of that moment in which you become which the desire to numb an emotion or a feeling arise. Like how do you wake up in that moment? How do you understand what that is? And how do you like go about just feeling your emotions? Because I see your expos, you talk about shadow work, you talk about how do you how do you feel your emotions? It sounds so obvious, like, oh, well, your emotions are there, you can just feel them. But I think more people than are aware of it just don't necessarily stop to notice those feelings rather than just react on them. And I think I'm one of them, and I'm slowly starting to realize more and more like which areas in my life I'm doing it. So can you talk about that? Like how do you go about noticing your emotions? How do you go about feeling them? How do you go about shadow work? Like do you sit down and do you have a book with you and write, and you sit on your couch with your eye closed? Like what do you do?
Yeah, I think most of the things, like the most important part you already mentioned it, which is you have to give yourself space for it because we've grown up really strangely, right? This is a really strange period of human experience. Um, like we grew up, we went to school, and we already had there was already TV, then later came the internet, and we grew up embedded in all of these possibilities for staying busy, and they're just infinite, and it's never been like that, you know. And so I think what we forgot in this process is that if you want to feel yourself and feel your emotions, you need space for that. And most humans who ever lived, they naturally had that space because they were sitting at a fire camp at night, or they had just moments of stillness in nature. It was just natural. They didn't have to make conscious time for it. There were these mystics that went deeper into that and you know and spent more of this quiet time on purpose and explored it sort of scientifically. But the normal people, it just came natural to everyone. And now we don't have that anymore. So I think this is like the most important thing is like you have to believe that there's a benefit in taking up this space and finding that time where you just consciously connect with yourself. And then it's a practice, right?
So yeah, so make space and then be consistent, practice it. But what do you write? Like questions do you answer in your journal? Is it like what am I feeling? Is it where is the feeling? Like in my chest, in my heart, in my head? Like what? Like in addition to that, like what do you write? What do you?
Yeah. So I do have a free email course for that online.
Mm,
It's at mastery.innerfreedomnetwork.com. Maybe you can link it.
for sure.
And yeah, in that email course, it's just a 5-day email course. It's a 5-step process I outlined there, and all those questions or journal prompts are in there. So
Can you name like one more or two more?
yeah, so I can also quickly summarize this process. So it's a
For sure.
5-step process, and it basically starts with what we already said. So the first step is embrace. So what you would do is you would embrace the possibility that there's a benefit for you for taking that space, and you just try to accept that this is something you have to do now. So that's the very first step. And then the next step is engage. And in this engage step, what you do is, since you've taken the time to consciously connect to yourself, you just try to observe what is there, what is happening, what thoughts are arising, and maybe can I even describe what I'm feeling? Just describe it, without, because if I'm feeling angry, can I just describe how I'm feeling angry and where I'm feeling it in my body? Can I sort of observe it without having to act it out, you know? And it basically it's not so important like what exact question am I asking, or it's more about like really practicing trying to get there. And this is something we naturally can do. It's just we forgot to do it because we're always so busy. But everyone has that ability, everyone. And you can tap into it at any point in time. And yeah, you can then I don't think it makes sense then to go into all the details of the other steps. You can in the later steps you just go deeper with that. But it's basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to ask yourself questions that you're asking yourself questions that can give you an idea of what is actually going on. And the goal is not to find the truth. The goal is just to have that process of observing. Because once you are at that point where you're genuinely feeling you're observing what is happening there, you're accepting it and you're observing it, then your identity starts to shift because then you're not feeling like you are angry. That's what we always say, right? I am angry, which is nonsense. You're not angry. You're having an experience of anger.
There is anger in you. Yeah.
Right. And we still say I am angry. I'm
Yeah.
still saying it.
Yeah.
I can use these words and then not mean them really, because it's just people wouldn't understand me. Like, it would be too awkward if I would always
Yeah.
use this more complicated. So I'm still saying, but once you really once you have that experience once, you can see, oh, I can practice to get back there to that experience of where I'm not being the anger, but I'm just experiencing it, and that
Experiencing it.
changes your identity because then you're not the victim anymore, you're the observer. And on higher levels, you even maybe feel like you're the creator of it, and you just love that you're having this experience, even though it's a crazy experience.
Yeah.
Like I just had this last week where things things got crazy here because I have a violent neighbor who just lives next door. He's just crazy, and he started to violently attack my other neighbor. Yeah, in the middle of the night, and um, so then. this guy was able to protect himself, and then the attacker just ran off. But it was one of those situations where you're just like, wow, what is happening, right?
Yeah.
And the default response would be to be angry about that. This is the situation right now, and but that always brings you back into victim mode. And so
Mm.
what I consciously try to do is like, can I just love and accept that this is happening and believe that this is happening for a reason, and that maybe this encounter and the situation that I live with my family here next to this freak is somehow um, giving me an opportunity to evolve and an opportunity to learn something. And
Yeah.
and that's basically what I want to embody in every situation, and what I want to inspire people to see as an opportunity to, like, whatever happens, it can happen for you. There is this capability in you that you can reframe things and accept things, embrace things, and just love what is, no matter how fucking crazy and challenging and hurting it might feel.
I love that. Do you think your calling in life is to help people realize this?
Yeah, I wish to believe that would be the case. It would it it definitely gives me a lot of purpose and meaning and drive. I mean, it's a good question because
Isn't that a good like a signpost?
how do you mean that?
Like if you have drive and purpose and meaning.
Yeah, right. It feels, yeah, it's just what I want to say. It's like, because I could have quite a comfortable life, with the skills and that I have. I could just have a quite comfortable job and just ease it out to the end. But somehow there's this, like you said, yeah, there's this calling that I wanna be of more service, and I wanna have more impact, and I wanna influence people to make changes. It's just, I'm just so grateful for the changes that I was able to make in my life, and I'm just so glad that I can be such a good father. I mean, I'm not perfect. No, no, like I said before we started to record, it's an impossible impossible profession. So I'm not a perfect dad, but I can genuinely feel that I can be there much more than my parents could be there for me. And that's because I did so much work on myself. And I just want to inspire more people to have the courage to do that work on themselves.
I love that. That's beautiful, man. I saw a post that you had on X about you approach addiction without willpower. I want you to touch a little bit more on that. Why
What
not
exact what
willpower?
exactly did I write? Do you have it
No,
in
not
mind?
exactly. I could find it, but
No, it's not so important. I
that
guess the theme's
it's
clear enough.
it's a two-sentence
Uh-huh.
post about using willpower. I read this in a book about quitting porn. That's why I was interested in you talking about it. And using willpower, which is a method that I used for many years, just brought me back into the same loop of issues.
Same experience, yes.
So, if not willpower, then what?
So addiction it's a very unpopular opinion, but addiction it's actually a form of selfishness.
I agree.
It's a form of not wanting to face what needs to be faced. And it always stems from, like, every form of addiction stems from this discomfort with being alive, with facing reality as it is. So there are things out of our control. There are things happening where we feel they happen to us. There are things we don't like. Maybe there are people in our life we don't like. Maybe we don't like our job. Maybe we don't like our bodies. Maybe we, there's just so many things that we could potentially dislike. And we use these addictions to run from that reality, to to not have to face that everything is how it is. And as long as we don't acknowledge that and start working with that, we can do all kinds of things and it won't make us stop the addiction. So willpower would be just as, like, if willpower would work, then what is it even, willpower? What is it? I don't even know what it is. It's like, is it setting intention or what is it? Is it
Willpower is deciding to do something regardless if you want to do it or not.
right?
It feels like a sexy form of discipline, you know, willpower. Oh, I'm like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, but if
I
that,
push through and I avoid every distraction and I'm just like focused.
yeah, but everyone would be a Navy SEAL if willpower would work, right?
That's so true.
It's like there would be no, we wouldn't have this conversation if willpower would work. It would be everyone waking up and being like, I do all the virtuous things today, and then just do them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So it's like a tool for virtue signaling, maybe. I feel like willpower can be useful in some ways. Right now, I'm not. I haven't expanded that thought enough to be able to use it in a useful way, like willpower. Okay, I don't know. Okay, yeah, no, I think I got my answer. Do you believe in laziness?
believe in laziness. So, yeah, I mean, I
Do you
definitely
believe
was
like people
lazy.
choose to be lazy, or do
Well, they
you
don't really
think it's an
choose it. It's
underlying?
just a manifestation of their level of consciousness.
Yeah. So it manifests as laziness. It's not necessarily a choice.
No, I don't think it is a choice because no
Yeah,
one's happy being lazy.
I agree. Do you believe in failure?
Well, ultimately, you cannot fail if you learn something from whatever
Yeah,
happens.
that's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So either you fail and you're like, okay, yeah, you failed and that was a problem, and now you got to go look at that problem and now you got to fix the problem. That's like I believe in failure. But not believing in failure would mean like I either learn when I do something well or I learn when I do something not so good.
Right.
From your perspective, what are some of the best parts about life after beating your addictions?
Well, there's just so much space for conscious experience.
What's the benefit of that?
It's deeper connections. That's the most important thing. It's like I can connect deeper with other humans because I'm not afraid of anything. I don't have to run from anything. So I can also with you right now, I can have this conversation just freely. I'm not afraid of something coming up that I'm not willing to talk about. If it would become uncomfortable, I'm not afraid of that anymore. And and that just leads to these connections of depth and trust with other humans. And that's I have that with my wife, I have that with friends, I have that with my children, I have that with people I'm working with. So, and that's just the most rewarding experience, right? It's like this connection with others. That's what makes life really worth living.
Deep connections.
Yes.
Do you value it over materialistic success?
100% yes. And they don't exclude each other, right? You're gonna have a
Yeah,
really, really wonderful, deep connection with a business partner and make millions of dollars if that's something you want to do.
right.
So I think we're coming into this age where this is becoming more mainstream. I hope, or at least that's my vision and hope for the future is that we come into this age where we can see that we can have both of these things. We don't have to like we can have all the material benefits that capitalism gave us, and we don't have to destroy nature to have them, and we don't have to become we don't have to exploit other humans to have that. So I hope that more and more people who are really making big business in the future will come to that conclusion and have that focus in their decision making.
Yeah. Conscious companies and organizations building services and products for people that actually benefit people.
Yes,
True capitalism, not the stuff that we have today, which is,
exactly.
they
Yeah.
call it crony capitalism, but capitalism in the service of humanity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
not just I'm not talking about like these marketing campaigns that the big players are doing to so they look like
yeah, no,
that's what they're
fronting.
doing. No,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
like a complete new form of economy, right?
Yeah. What do you have as an advice for people and young adults that are stuck in the situation that you were in? You were smoking and playing video games and watching porn and just avoiding yourself. There are likely thousands of young boys, probably girls too, but there are likely hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of boys in that situation right now. If you could have 60 seconds of their undivided, maybe that's a little bit too much to ask, but undivided attention, what would you tell them?
Dare to try something unusual that your peer group and your social media feed is currently not giving you. Dare to go to dare to go out and try something. Try to get into deep connection with people and read books, read good books, and not only these books that entertain you, but books that really push you to question your relationship with life and your responsibility in life, because ultimately you are responsible for your life, and embracing this radical responsibility can change everything for you way beyond your imagination. And just dare to start somewhere and see where it takes you, and don't stop when it gets weird or hard or when people ridicule you for decisions. Like if you decide to stop drinking with your friends, then stay strong and try it out for a couple of months and see where it leads to. And maybe someone else is inspired and said, hey, I've been watching you for 6 weeks not drinking, and somehow you seem to be okay. So I want to try this as well, and then you had an experience where you inspired someone. So just start somewhere and keep at it.
What's a book or two that you would point them to?
I would start with something relatable that fits into the worldview. So Jordan Peterson's books are great. Maps of Meaning is amazing. 12 Rules for Life. Um, Atomic Habits is a really great book. And then once you get a bit of a grip, you can also start reading more spiritual works. There's an amazing book by Aldous Huxley. Forgot its title though. It's like the Perennial Philosophy,
I want to write that one.
and then there's Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. You mentioned him before. Um, yeah,
Thank you.
I can publish my ebook reader
Okay, yeah,
list.
that's probably a good idea. That's probably a great idea. You could send me that and I can share it together with the episode.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time, Paulus. This was great. And no, at the very end here, you could just, if you want to plug your work or your social media channels for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, you can find me on Substack. That's innerfreedomnetwork.com. That's where I have my long form writing and where I go deeper into these topics. And of course, I'm also on X. At free Paul Louise is my handle. And yeah, if you want to check out my emotional mastery blueprint that I mentioned earlier, you can find that at mastery.innerfreedomnetwork.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for this great experience.